Today, we talk about content on your website and what to do with loser A/B tests. Hey guys, welcome to the AskEngine Show, episode number 28. We are down one John Max today, so it's just me and JJ here. So, let's just go ahead and dig into our first question.
Let's do it.
Awesome. First one is from r/ecommerce, and this user asks, what other content should be on my website aside from my products and base e-com functionality?
Oh, that's a great question, because I think a lot of times if you're using a Shopify or one of the off-the-shelf systems, you should kind of go through and do what they ask you to do. And there are two or three classifications. I'll name two and let you kind of expand on them. I think the first is signals of trust. So signals of trust is a broad thing. So you're this random retailer. You're not Amazon, regardless of whether you think you are. And so how do you get people to trust you? They just discovered your brand through a search engine or social engine or something like that. And so how do you do it? Well, things like a 1-800 number, if you have it, a satisfaction guaranteed banner, reviews from satisfied customers, testimonials, that sort of thing. So that's a broad category. The second is content. So in that content, and I'll let you speak to this particular piece of it because you're better at it, but what's your story? Why do you exist? What's your brand all about? And then real content. So prove you're the expert. Are you this dumb pipe that most retailers are? And if you are, Amazon's already won that game. They're a better dumb pipe than you'll ever be. And if they're not, Walmart is. And if they're not, Target is. And so don't be a dumb pipe of a retailer, or you're going to go out of business. So content proves that you know what you're talking about and can add value to the equation beyond just the supply chain and logistics of, I have a product and I'll ship it to you and hopefully it'll arrive. So talk about the branding.
I think weaving your brand story through your product pages, through your homepage, through your blog is super important, because that creates a cohesive experience and it creates something that people can lean on and expect from you. So when you're telling the story of why your shirts or your widgets or whatever you're selling are so good, you're telling that on the product page, you're telling it on the homepage. Even sometimes on the collections pages, you have further detail about who you are. And I think that really builds trust while people are shopping. And back to trust again, those little trust badges, whether in the footer or on the product page, can really make a conversion rate difference. I know back at Country Outfit.
Oh yeah, that was a good A/B test. Yeah, that was a really good one. And A/B testing is the next one, so we won't dive into that. But we'll tell that story in a second. But the About Us is really one of the more important things on there, and you kind of pushed us this direction. So here we are, we're Engine, we build e-commerce software. Well, the engineer in me and the very linear algorithmic guy says, here's our list of features, point 1, point 2, point 3. It's like, how are we differentiated? Until you tell the story of the humans behind it and what we built before and why we came into this, there's a really grand story around it. So I don't know that we've done it right, but we've at least done it.
We've tried.
Yeah, we've at least tried at that point. So good. So next question?
Next question. This is from r/marketing. And this person wants to know, what do you do with loser A/B test pages? Do you keep them around? Do you delete them?
Well, that's a good question. Well, let's talk about the best A/B test we ever ran at Acumen, because we talked about it in the last a little bit. But so we were in a meeting, and there must have been 15 of us in this meeting. I think you were in there, and we talked about signals of trust. I found several articles around how you increase the trust on your website and all these very intricate, detailed things that you can do to inspire trust in the person that's going to type in their credit card number to this random faceless website. And so we were in there, and we have a developer named Brian Sage, and Brian is a bit of a jerk. He's hilarious. He's always looking for the easy way out, and so he's a great guy. And he says, "Okay, done." In the meeting, and we're like, "What?" He said, "I set up an A/B test," and he shows us, and it's this badge. It's this faceless badge, and it says "Satisfaction Guaranteed" with an exclamation.
Yeah, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah. And sort of like, hey, you're an idiot. But since you've set it up, let this test run. And sure enough, literally, what was it, 22% increase in conversion rate. It was in the footer of the site. It was just satisfaction guaranteed. And we were at the time probably a $60-ish million business. So, 60 times 22, that's a $12, $15 million jump in revenue from a stupid, silly badge.
Well, a badge that really has no inherent meaning to it. So, you can see those, there's the semantic, secure badges, or you can apply and get the badges from your credit card company. companies.
Right.
This is literally just a branded piece of design
Mm-hmm.
built there to increase trust with our shoppers.
Right. So that's probably the most impactful.
Mhm.
I mean, we've done better tests, but I mean, that one, as far as a no amount of work to reward, I mean, nothing even
Huge.
comes close. So what do you do with the losers? I think you have to learn from it, right? I mean, there was a reason you tested this in the beginning, and we would test everything. Once we got to a steady state, I believe you ought to test everything without, even if you're firmly convicted
Yep.
it's going to win, do it anyway and be data driven and trust the results. And so, what to do with the losers? I think you have to learn from it. So, especially if it's a paradox where you say, this is going to win, I'm positive of it, and it loses. Well, why did it lose? You ought to have a tear down of why maybe this lost, because then out of that, you can brainstorm what will win and why. If something paradoxical wins, you don't understand well enough. So, figure out why.
Yeah, I completely agree. Keeping that old loser page
Mhm.
as a source of data and inspiration, something to learn from, I think is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a source of inspiration,
Yeah,
if nothing else.
you can go
Yeah.
back and look at it and say, why did this page lose? The next page we build, let's not build it this way. So, like, just compound on those learnings from every single one you build.
There's a site out there, and maybe multiples. I can't think of the name of it. Maybe you know it. It shows. It's kind of a game. Which one won, basically? So
Oh,
it
yeah,
shows
yeah,
you
I know
A
what you're
versus
talking
B, and you pick. And man, I was never any better than like 50% at that. I mean, sometimes I was even like less than that. I think probably. But if we can find it, Joe, we'll put the name
link
of
to
the URL here and let you check that out. But a wealth of knowledge that you can gain from doing that. So most of them are paradoxical. Which ones wins? So it's good. Is that our last question?
That's it.
Great. Do we have a question of the day or something like
Oh,
John
man.
Max makes us do?
I want to hear about our audience. What's your best performing A/B test, or maybe your most surprising
That's
one?
a great one. Yeah, that'd be good.